Welcome to Puvanur RVIR Laya Academy of Music and Mathematics. Welcome to Puvanur RVIR Laya Academy of Music and Mathematics. We are now in level 5. We had seen 4 basic thalas, how to go about doing the reduction, general reduction techniques. Today I am going to teach you in Kanda, Jathi, Triputa, Thalam 9-beat cycle how to go about it. Before I get into the class, I will start this class with a Thirukkural. Tham inburuvadu ulagu inburak kande kaam uruvar katrarindar. What is the meaning of it? கற்றறிந்தவர் தாம் இன்பமடைய காரணமாகிய கல்வியால் உலகத்தினரும் இன்பமடையும் சிறப்பை கருதி அக்கல்வியை மேலும் விரும்பி கற்பர். A person who is learned, seeing the whole world likes and enjoys learning, that motivates the person to learn more. That's what Thiruvallur mentions in this Thirukkural. I think it's something like a well which continuously yields water. As you take water from the well, the learned people will continue to learn and learn and learn by sharing their knowledge. That way they get more knowledge and more wisdom, and the whole world enjoys and the whole society enjoys. With this good thought, I'll enter into the class. Today I'm going to teach you in Kanda, Jathi, Triputa, Thalam how to go about the reduction technique. So Kanda, Jathi, Triputa, Thalam, as I told you, all the time you have to go relational. So it's a 9-beat thalam. So the only shift from Adi Thalam is 8 plus 1 is 9. So you can use Adi Thalam base and go about playing the takadin dimmi din dimmi sequence. Takadin dimmi din dimmi takadin dimmi din dimmi takadimmi takadin dimmi din dimmi tatakita takadina. The position is beautiful. Like if you take a 9, the 4 is in the first part, 4 is in the second part. So that 4 and 4 when you combine outer join is Adi Thalam. So in between one beat is an additional thing which is going to use as an anchor for Kanda, Jathi, Triputa, Thalam. So when you can split and accommodate this particular part, you can actually play Takadin Dimmi Dimmi, Tangadaka Dimmi Dimmi in a nice way, the same way. Only thing is in between you're going to have an interluding component which is going to anchor these two parts. So it's going to tie it down. So Tangadaka Dimmi din dimmi, Tangadaka Dimmi din dimmi, Taka dimmi, Tangadaka Dimmi din dimmi, Nangadaka Tangat, Tangadaka Tangadaka Tangat, Tangadaka Tangadaka Tangat, Tangadaka then Nangadaka Tangadaka Tangat, Tangadaka 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 Tangat, Tangadaka da. So what we have done is use the midpoint as an anchor and try to reproduce the Adi Thalam. That way it's easier to build Kanda, Jathi, Triputa, Thalam using all Adi Thalam components in such a way. That's one of the easiest method by which you can play Kanda, Jathi, Triputa, Thalam very quickly. Alternatively, I've taught you ideas. If you can refer back my notes, if you can split into 3 beats, you can also play as a Rupaka Thalam factor. Din kittaka din din na, din din kadaka din na, din din kadaka din kadaka din. This approach, if you take it, then it becomes a Rupaka Thalam thrice. So you have to use those ideas and build it. Another idea, first half is 5, second half is 4. The first you can play din kitta taka din na din din kitta din na ta din na din data kitta taka din. So the first half is Kanda Jathi Ekathalam, which is nothing but a Kanda Chapathalam. The later half is Triputa, the second part of it. You can use the Adi Thalam base. It's a sandwiching idea. So these are all the ideas by which you can do this relational study and then try to build your own complex patterns. So it gives a lot of avenues for you to do rather than doing monotonous, prosaic way. More interestingly, you can coinage your own patterns if you can go in these lines of thinking. So these are all out of the box creative thinking. I want you to go about doing all these things. But for the understanding purpose, go with that base, vanilla base of 4 and 4, anchoring point in between, and use that as a base. And as you land up and finish off the Tirmanam, how did I form this Tirmanam? In Adi Thalam, so when you look at the Tirmanam, the back gap, it's 4 plus 4, 8. Now, it's one beat extra, you need another 4 aksharas. I made it 6, 6. 2 each at right proportions, which increased it one beat seamlessly. So 4 had become 6. Here another 4 had become 6. You didn't even know that you put a patch. You just build it in a very nice way. It is natural. So that's how you should develop or coinage a pattern. That's the beauty of a good laya with Bhavan. How you go about, do it, present it in a beautiful, lucid way. Now, coming to the reduction part, I'm going to take a 18 beat as a base because it's a 9 beat cycle, 9 into 2, 18 beat as a base. So what are all the corollaries for this? What are all the different steps you will have is 18, 9, 4 and a half, and 2 and 1/4. 2 and 1/4 is tadik kitta thum. That is 9. Till then you can come. You can play that. Now, tham. Tataka dhin, taka dimmi, taka junno, taka dimmi, taka jun, dimita dimiti, naka dimita dimiti, na, taka din dimiti, dimmi, taka din dimiti, dim, talanga din tatam, talanga din tatam, talanga din tatam. Din taka dimmi taka junno taka dimmi taka jun tangada ding kita taka dala ding kita tangada ding kita taka dala ding kita taka dala ding kita taka dala ding kita taka dala ding kita taka ding kita taka dala ding kita ding kita taka dala ding kita ding kita taka dala dam. Taka junno taka din na tak dari kada taka ding tak dari kada taka ding kada taka dari kada taka ding taka junno taka dimmi taka junno taka dimmi taka dari kada taka ding taka dari kada taka ding kada taka dari kada taka ding. You can play like that as a patch up. Tam taka dimmi taka junno and another patch because there is one more finger taka dimmi. That may not be as lucid as the previous phrase. So to make it more lucid, tam tataka dinna tanga tata dimmi tangada taka dari kada taka taka dari kada taka ding kada taka dari kada taka ding kada taka dari kada taka tam. So for these 3 beats, use a 6th phrase as a base. Tangada taka dari kada taka tangada taka dari kada taka is there. So then you also change the rupa or swarupa of tangada taka dari kada taka tanga tata dimmi. Tataka dimmi tanga tata dimmi tangada taka dari kada taka talanga din tatam talanga din tatam talanga din tatam. Or tataka dinna talanga datta dimmi talanga datta dimmi talanga din tatanga talanga din tatanga talanga din tatam. dinna taka dinna tading ginna tadam. Tataka dinna taka dinna tangada tarigada dam. Tataka dinna taka dinna tading ginna tadam. Tataka dinna taka dinna tangada tarigada dam. Here you have to understand. First is 18 beat, second is 9 beat. It's very clear. The third is 4.5, 4.5. So there is a break in between the thala cycle. So you have to break your aksharas also suitably. Tham, tathaka dinna, thaka dinna. So 12, tading ginna thum is 1.5. So 12 is 3 beats, tading ginna thum is 1.5 beat, 4.5 beats. So 9, half of 9 is 4.5. You should exactly takita, you should break in between here in this finger, that becomes 4.5, and you should reduce in 4.5 cycles. Tam, tataka dinna tadi keta tam, tataka dinna tangata tagadari tam, tataka dinna tadi keta tam, tataka dinna tangata tagadari tam. That you should understand. When you reduce, you should suitably take at a right place. You should not think of some other akshara as landing and then you can't take it. Because the reduction should be consistent. 18, 9, 4.5, 2 and 1/4. Though it's a fraction, that fraction is a sarvalagu here. You should not think that perfect landing is the sarvalagu. It's not that's not the idea. Sometimes the fraction becomes the sarvalagu. Sometimes 1/4 becomes the sarvalagu. So you have to understand that as you learn this laya aspect. Then tam, tang, tadi keta tantang, tadi keta tantang, tadi keta tantang, tadi keta tantang. So then what 2 and 1/4 is 9. Tang is 3, tadi kitom is 6. 3 plus 6 is 9. So that is 2 and 1/4. Tang, tadi keta dhum. So after these 2 beats is 8 aksharas, 1 akshara extra makes it 9. So that is 2 and 1/4. So it lands in a very odd place. So you have to understand. Tang, tadi keta tantang, tadi keta tantang, tadi keta tantang, tadi keta tantang. That's the landing. So it's 4.5. You have to understand clearly. 2 and 1/4 is nothing but a 9-syllabled phrase, which is tadiketatum, tadim tadiketatum, takadina tadiketatum. All these are synonyms. You can use any of these granularity or any phrases equivalent to that. You can play and fit it in that place. Now I will tell the entire or reduction part of it. Then I will teach you the other reduction part of it. And the new Mora and Korwe also I'll teach you and sum up. Tataka dinna taka dimmi taka junno taka dimmi taka junno dimmi ta dimiti naka dimita dimiti nak taka dimmi taka dimmi dim tanga den tatam tanga den tata tataka dinna taka dimmi ka junno taka dimmi ta junno taka ding kada taka da 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 dam kada taka da dam kada taka da dam tataka dinna tanga tata dimmi tangada tarigada da tataka dinna talanga da dimmi tanga tata dimmi talanga din tangada talanga din tata tataka dinna tadi keta tata tataka dinna tadi keta tata tataka dinna takkada dangada da tataka dinna tarigada dangada da tadi keta tata so after you reduce tataka dinna tadi ketatanta tataka dinna takkada dangada tataka dinna tadi ketatanta tataka dinna takkada dangada tadi ketatanta tadi ketatanta takkada dangada takkada dangada tarigada dangada takkada dangada tarigada dangada tataka dinna taka dimmi tajunno taka dimmi tajunno takkada tarigada. Then you can come and play some sarvalagu and get into that traditional reduction route. So this is how, as the water falls, and then it gets into the river, and then it flows into the countryside. So then it gets into different places. So that's how it should be a flow. It should be like a flow, like a waterfall flow methodology, and then it should spread across. The idea should spread across and make that particular landscape beautiful. Like that, you should play. Then the furrows are very easy. The furrows are now, if you look at it, it can be approached in, as I told, if you can refer back my notes, there are multiple ways of doing these furrow patterns. You can either take it a 5 and 4 split. This pattern methodology you can choose, or break it as 3 units. You can use that set of patterns and then play, or Adithalam pattern, interlude, that anchoring point you can use and then do it. It actually fits beautifully because the anchors the both sides, so it ties down. Now it's beautiful, like a shoe knot. You can actually tie it down when you can break something. Even for the Misri chopper, when you can make it as a 3-3 interluding one gap, it can actually do this cross pollination, 3-3 and then single. You can again 2-2 and a 1 for a 5, 4-4 and a 1 for 9. So these are all the methods by which you can connect. Use phrases of 4, phrases of 2, phrases of all in a nice way. You can tie it down. In a systemic phrases with the interluding gaps can make it interesting. So after you play the phrases, all these furrows, then the way, as I taught you, you can refer back the furrow notes and you can play suitable furrows there. Lots of things are there for you. Now, again, if you look at this model, in Ganda Thalam, it is nothing but a 10-beat cycle. If you granular 2.5, when you look at a bigger picture, it's 10. So taga talangudumta tarikadaga dakkum tangadaga tarikadaga takadi talangudumta tarikadaga talangadinta dintatum we did. So now taha is 4, takadi is 4. I am going to reduce to 2, so which becomes 9-beat now. So it becomes suitable for Kanda Jathi Triputa Thalam. So what I had done is done a relational from Ganda Chappa. I went into Misra Jambai, I made it 10, and then I'm relating with Kanda Jathi Triputa Thalam. So and then I'm making and concising that mora, same mora into this one, and that's the idea, relational idea I'm building. So that the concept what I'm teaching in Ganda Chappa, the same mora you can play, customize it for Kanda Jathi Triputa Thalam. Is 4.5 beats. From 5 beats I've cut it off. Cut off one simple part. That becomes 4.5. The later half also I've cut another half akshara, and then I fit it into the Kanda Jathi Triputa Thalam. Talangudumta, Tarikadakum Tangadaka, Tarikadakum Tangadinta, Talangudumta, Tarikadakum Tangadaka, Tarikadakum Tum, Talangudumta, Tarikadakum Tangadaka, Tarikadakum, Takatangudumta, Tarikadakum, Takatangudumta, Tarikadakum, Talangudinta. This is the speed. I played it faster here because you already know in Ganda Chappa in a slower granularity I've explained you. And I've also explained you how I've customized it. And for the effect, you should get to this effect. So these are all the learnings, relational learnings. Now, a core way, suitable core way for this also you can learn. Talangudumta, Tarikadakum Tangadaka, Talangudintatam. Takatangudumta, Tarikadakum Tangadaka, Tarikadakum Tat Talangudumta, Tarikadakum Tangadaka, Tarikadakum Tadik Ketatata, Tadik Ketatata, Tadik Ketatata. that's the Korvai you can play and showcase. So with this, I think hope you're very clear. I've clearly demonstrated for multiple thalas the ideas of how to go about the reduction, how to take in units of multiple units, how to go about reducing systemically like a binary. You keep reducing it, and then finally do the Sabalagu and get into those patterns of furans and the Mora and Korvai. Mora Korvai are of multiple nature. You can design your own Mora Korvai and you can change the phrases, colors of it and make it different reduction patterns. And there are a number of varieties of reductions you can arrive at. Even with the knowledge of whatever the learnings you have, you can actually get into multiple forms of reductions. Then, of course, there are advanced way of we can do the reductions with interesting phrases, complex phrases, which we will be doing as a continuous exercise in level 6, which would be strengthening your understanding to a greater extent. Puvanur signing off with the Thirukkural. Keduyil Viruchelvam Kalvi ஒருவருக்கு மாடு அல்ல மற்றையவை. What is the meaning of it? ஒருவனுக்கு அழிவில்லாத சிறந்த செல்வம் கல்வியே ஆகும். Only thing which is non-perishable in this whole world is the wealth of education. ஏனைய மணி பொன் முதலிய செல்வங்கள் அழியக்கூடியன ஆதலால் அவை செல்வங்களாக. The rest like gold or whatever the material things you've accumulated, those are not real wealth. Those are bound to perish. That's what Thiruvallur mentions in this Thirukkural. With this good thought, I'll conclude this class. I will see you in the next class with the concept of Adi Thalam Misra Kuraippu and introduction. But in this class, before I get into that introduction class, I will also deal with Misra Jathi Jampathalam Kuraippu because it is an extension of Ganda Chapathalam. It's a 5-beat and this is a 10-beat. Before I introduce to Misra Kuraippu, I will give an orientation into Misra Jathi Jampathalam 10-beat cycle, and then I will introduce Adi Thalam Misra Kuraippu, and we will deal with it in few episodes to get better understanding of that concept. Until then, Puvanur RVA is signing off.